Well, I'm a fan of movies, quite a fan of movies. But I do not remember Harry Potter books well enough to be able to do a solid ranking of those. However, I do have some opinions on the Harry Potter movies. Now, to start me off, I've gotta set the scene for the kind of movie viewer I am, and that would be these. Not, these aren't even in order. I gotta zoom in so far. My opinion is, of course, Alfonso Cuarón killed. He destroyed Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is probably not an opinion that you haven't heard before, but if we're looking at the oh jeez, if you watch these movies back to back and you start uh, yeah, Philosopher's Stone into Chamber of Secrets. Chamber of Secrets is a little bit better, but the first two in particular have like a '90s vibe almost to me. Child, got a childlike energy. You know, you still got the John Williams score killing it. And the actors are in it are killing it, but uh, from a filmmaking standpoint, it almost feels like I feel like I'm watching Casper the Friendly Ghost more than anything else. And to bring in Alfonso Cuarón, who, you know, Children of Men, eventually he'd do Gravity, which you might have heard of, like Roma, if you're a super film nerd, in which case you wouldn't be watching this anyways. Uh, he like they brought him in, and he really, I think, he killed the visuals. And like there's scenes where, you know, the camera goes through glass. You got the Dementors and all that happening in this book. It's compelling. You've got uh, even though the time turner makes no sense at all to me, you've got a student in your school who wants to take extra classes, so your solution is to give them the ability to travel back in time. That it'll bug me to this day. Also a Liquid Luck hater. Thankfully, there's no one here to tell me that Liquid Luck is okay, because I would go off, dude. I would go off if I saw it. So let's see. Sorcerer's Stone. You know, you're diving into the series. So you're going to Hogwarts for the first time. You're meeting Harry, Ron, Hermione. Uh, End of the movie, you're going into the Hogwarts basement. And you're going through those assorted challenges. Thinking in particular about the. I don't remember why this worked the way that it was, but they played that chess game, and like Ron is on like the rook or the knight, and he like gets smashed by the opposing chess piece, and I'm like, did he really need to be on that chess piece? I don't. There's a lot about that I'd want to be explained, to be honest. But yeah, everyone in it. It's a little kid. It's the opening book. The content of the movies ages as the characters age. I've alluded to, like I did just allude to, I feel like with these first two, they're directed by Christopher Columbus. I feel like I'm watching Casper the Friendly Ghost. I feel like I'm watching like an elevated kids movie from the '90s, where it's got a lot of that. It has a lot of that vibe, but it's just elevated. Like I said, the music's insane, and it's a setup for the future. But I don't go back to Philosopher's Stone as a movie. I don't go back to these too much to begin with, but in my head, I'm like, okay. So let's sort these in order. We got Half Blood Prince. I'm so glad that they put these in order for me. And that's them in the forest. That's gotta be Deathly Hallows Part 1 for sure. For sure. This Goblet of Fire. Danny Radcliffe's looking older there. Half Blood Prince. So then where's Order of the Phoenix is right here. Half Blood Prince. There we go. There we go. Let's keep it going. Now we got Chamber of Secrets. In case you haven't seen Chamber of Secrets in a long time, this movie is almost 3 hours long. Isn't it like the shortest book too? But they made the Chamber of Secrets movie 3 hours long. And that's because like an hour and a half or something of it is like it's the mystery with the students turning to stone, and they're just like looking around the school, and then you're just like there like Dumbledore. You gotta close this mf'er down. Like it's too dangerous, and he doesn't do it, and then kids keep getting in trouble. You get to learn a lot about Tom Riddle. You get to fight a basilisk at the end, but like it still has this a similar visual vibe to the first one, and it's 3 hours long for no reason, despite not having as much content. I'm putting it below Philosopher's Stone. I think that those two are the weakest, and then we immediately jump up to the third one, which is why I really love Prisoner of Azkaban as well, because it of how much it elevated the movies that came before it. The world is so much crisper, so cleaner. Like the newspaper, you can see the text and the pictures moving. It's great. Welcome, Peace. That one guy who watches me, Tricycles, he came on as I was doing a book tier list, and he didn't read any of the books, and he gave me the idea to do a Harry Potter book tier list, but I haven't read the Harry Potter books since they came out, so I'm doing a movie review tier list because I remember them better, and this is content that people would click on, arguably. Goblet of Fire. Now, this is the midway book. Whenever people talk about it, they're like, yeah, it's supposed to be like the fun romp in the middle. It's the transition book. Well, guess what? It is a fun romp. Is it as good as like the content of Prisoner of Azkaban or Order of the Phoenix or something? No, but it's the one. Doesn't his arm turn into like floppy rubber in this one? You got the insane moaning Myrtle in this. You got all the clues. There's the snitch. There's the competition. Yeah, the Triwizard Tournament, of course. You got Robert Pattinson coming in and dying, which is pretty cool. Cedric Diggory, if I remember his name right. At the end, you got the big, like the Star Wars, like the Voldemort and like the green versus red, if I remember right, fighting each other. So you're starting to get the big good versus evil imagery in this one. But really, even if it's not as good, this is the one that you watch to have some fun, right? You got competitions. The actors and actresses are aging, right? Like I think this is where the filmmakers are starting to be like, is anyone looking at Hermione, and so on. I think that Goblet of Fire, both in the book and movie form, even though people love it, I think it's underrated comparatively because it's so much fun. So I'm putting that in the A tier. If there's going to be a movie that if I have to watch a Harry Potter movie, I'm probably going to pick Goblet of Fire more than anything else, even if I think Prisoner of Azkaban is better. Now, Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix, I talked about Prisoner of Azkaban being a big turning point. Order of the Phoenix is the next one. This is when David Ayer steps on. He's now the man who's helming the amazing Fantastic Beasts, and we're going to find in the movie series as well. But this is where the vibe, as it's supposed to after Goblet of Fire, shifts for the series, right? When there's wizards fighting, it's like gunfire. They're going ba ba ba, and then like dodging and ducking and stuff. Like later on, you got some insanely creative imagery, like the sequence that everyone will remember from Order of the Phoenix is when they go into the prophecy building, and then there's like all the gigantic racks of prophecies like getting knocked down and stuff. Like there's incredible work done in this movie. I think it's also very watchable. And to me, Order of the Phoenix and Goblet of Fire, those are some great movies. I shouldn't spoil what's coming. I saw Half-Blood Prince. I saw it a couple years ago. I remember nothing that happened. B tier. Deathly Hallows Part 1. I do remember this one. Anthony, how could you ever remember Deathly Hallows Part 1 if you couldn't remember Half-Blood Prince? Well, I watched Half-Blood Prince like 2 or 3 times, and to me it's just not memorable. Deathly Hallows I've seen once, and it's very memorable because it's also 3 hours long. And unlike even Chamber of Secrets, nothing happens at all. They're just walking through woods for the movie. D-tier. And this is... Then we get to part 2. Part 2 has almost it's the antithetical problem to part 1. And honestly, 3-hour movie, you should have just made to me, you should have just made a 3.5 hour long one single movie. Because this movie, part 2, is pure action. Like, I think it was good. Like, and a bunch of people love it, but it doesn't stop in the way where it's like there's such a high concentration of information. Like, Harry's having a war with Voldemort in like some other dimension, and at the same time, you finally see like Neville Longbottom pull out like a damn gigantic sword and slice off a snake's head. Like, I wanted a full 10-minute sequence leading up to Neville being like a hot badass with a gigantic sword. I didn't want just a smash cut to him going, and then like back to Harry and Voldemort fighting, and then everything getting lit on fire. Like there's great set pieces in this that you can't remember because of how hyper edited and quickly it's done. I know that people love part 2 of Deathly Hallows, but the pacing is so fast. And the editing is so quick. I can't even remember it as a movie because of it. Like there's such a high concentration of information. It becomes so difficult to even remember what happens. At least for me. So because of that, I'm putting it at the top of B tier, just because I get an even distribution of movies here, right? This is pleasant. This is what looks nice. So, moving myself up here. At the top, we've got Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. As far as movies go, I think this is the most well crafted of the 8. It's where you bring in Alfonso Cuarón. This is where, to me, the movies shift from looking like children's movies to looking like movies deserving of the most popular book series ever made. In the A tier, we have the other 2 that I definitely think are the best. We've got The Goblet of Fire and The Order of the Phoenix. Goblet of Fire is the most fun. Order of the Phoenix, that's when David Ayer comes in and turns it into the dark and gritty Harry Potter movie series that we see from that point on. But there's so much excitement, the shifting. You get to see the world changing. You're just like, oh man, stuff's getting real. Order of the Phoenix is a great movie. In the B tier, even though this would actually probably be more like a C tier, I've got... what's that one? Oh, yeah. Deathly Hallows Part 2, which is another fun movie, but it's just, there's so much. I couldn't even internalize any of it. Maybe if I was a big Harry Potter fan and I would watch it over and over, but I'm not. But thank you for not disagreeing with the Azkaban take. It's very pretentious film nerdy for me to say that. So I appreciate it. And after that, I put Half-Blood Prince. I've seen that movie twice. I remember him finding the book. I remember him meeting with like a professor who wants to make him his or something like that. Who gives a shit? I don't care about it. Then after that, I've got Philosopher's Stone and The Chamber of Secrets. These are the first 2. Chamber of Secrets in particular, 3 hours long for no reason. And then the first one, it's the first one. I don't vibe with it as much, Like it's the kid in the movie. It's like a fantasy movie, right? Like, oh, I'm Harry Potter. I live a terrible life. Suddenly, I'm a wizard, and I'm the wealthiest wizard in the world. From sheer luck, or I don't even remember how Lillian, whatever his name was, got the money that it passed on. Either way, and then at the bottom, Jesus, I have Deathly Hallows Part 1. AKA the movie where you walk through a forest for like 2 hours. I remember they dive into the bottom of the sea and pick up a sword, and like that's just an ancient myth retelling, and that's like the centerpiece of the movie that I remember. And either way, so here's my Harry Potter movie list. I hope that I've triggered whoever watches this in the future. It'll improve my engagement because I don't know why I spent 15 minutes doing this, but either way, I hope that you have a great day. You deserve it, and I'll see you next time.